So like I have this VM selected, I can right click and simply I can clone it. The thing with a snapshot is like, let's say if I have a snapshot here, so I have a snapshot for this VM, and a snapshot is simply, it's like restoring the machine to a former state. Now you can clone a particular snapshot and start using that as well, that's up to you. But just with a snapshot you can't use both machines simultaneously.
That means it is running same.
Okay, snapshots represent different states of a virtual machine.
Yes, sir. But like I
Let's
can
say,
use that.
okay, I have this snapshot. Okay, now what happens is every time I'm trying to do this, every time I try to solve this CTF, I make some changes to the content of that CTF. So when I do it again, when I want to do it the next time, I have to restore it to this snapshot. So then it is again a fresh CTF, totally unchanged. So
If
that
you double click on that, it will be like you will get say that snapshot itself, or a restore we have to press.
you have to click restore.
Okay.
So it says this is the current state, which is derived from the snapshots that they are basically the same. But if I make any kind of changes, then it's going to show up as changed. At any single point of time, I can only use one state of the machine. You know, a machine cannot be in two different configurations at the same time. But what you can do is you can clone the VM, so you get a entirely separate one, entirely
Sir,
separate.
actually, I have. I don't know what I did, but I got a two Windows virtual machines. But if I
Hmm.
check both the Windows machine IP, it is same only.
IP
I
same.
did.
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah. I'll share my screen. So,
actually, what you need to do is you need to change the network adapter settings. Okay, I'll stop sharing so you can try sharing. By default, it is set to NAT or network address translation.
okay. Sorry. Here,
So
I created this and this. I don't remember how I created this. Maybe it's a clone or I don't know. But if I check, I'm getting both for both same IP address.
for the second machine, the one that you have currently selected,
Yeah.
the network adapter is set to NAT. Okay, so it is not on the same network as any of your other VMs, and it can only, like, it can connect to the internet, but it cannot directly interact with your host or any of the other guest VMs. So just change it to NAT network
Okay.
if you want. NAT network. Okay, that's fine. And now if
And
you just one is
yes, sir.
fine. Okay,
One is fine. And what these adapters exactly? What it if
you
we
can add
create
other
multiple?
you can add other network adapters if you want.
So that means we'll have a different IP address and we can work with that. Is it so?
Yeah, you'll have a different IP address which
Okay.
is going to be there for every adapter.
Okay.
So now if you
So
start this up, I think you should be seeing a different IP.
okay.
Okay, so just you can check that. But because if you have a NAT adapter by default, then what happens is NAT means you don't want to interact with any other VMs on this system. It's
Okay.
like a separate isolated VM. It can connect to the internet through your host, but that's it.
So,
Keep IP config.
yeah. Yeah. It is coming differently.
So this should be a different one now.
Yes, sir. I got different one.
Different, right? So because
Yeah.
for NAT it will assign the same IP for every system.
Okay.
So with different IPs on a NAT network, you can even get these two devices to communicate with each other.
Okay. So that means we have no need of maintaining two different ISO files for anything. Just if we clone and if we change the network adapter setting, then we can work with the two different virtual machines, right?
Yes, definitely you can do that.
Hello, sir.
Okay, so I don't know about whether the others will be joining us or not because I haven't
Hello, sir.
received any communication from them regarding this. So I'm going to begin.
Hello, sir.
Sir, just one request, like till I have some CH doubts. So whenever class starts, till others joins, can I ask my questions?
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Do I share screen? My screen?
Yeah, you can. Are you having any issues currently with the setup?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
One minute, I'm
so
checking.
okay, share your screen.
Actually, it is showing a virtual box error. The installation is completed,
Start
but
the machine because the following physical network
yes,
Vbox net 0. Try
Sir,
changing the
what?
network settings. See what
Sir,
option will give
whatever
you.
setup file he has got, it's not proper one actually. I got different one.
You got a different one. Okay, oh that's there are two invalid settings it says. Can you just go to these ones? See what it says at
yes.
the bottom of the at
Add-on.
the bottom in where the OK button is present in that same line saying invalid settings. Can you just hover over these? This virtual machine is configured to use OK. And what is the second one? USB is currently enabled. However, this requires act or disable USB. Okay, you can just disable USB in this case because you don't need it on this machine. And of course, I would recommend installing the extension pack whenever you have the time. So it's just
Complete.
some extra functionality for VirtualBox, but we're not going to be using USB ports on this machine anyway. So that is not an issue here. The machine with a network adapter, okay, what issue is it giving you? Okay, change the NAT type, give it NAT network.
Okay.
No, NAT
And
network. It's a NAT.
NAT network, not NAT, NAT network, the second last one.
Okay.
And it's giving you another error. Okay, what is it showing here? No, the second one, I think. No NAT network name is currently specified. Go to the name portion. Is it not really sure? Okay, it's not showing you anything
Sir, I
currently.
feel whatever he has downloaded is not proper. Either it is not properly downloaded. It's not completely downloaded.
Not properly downloaded. Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
is a possibility, of course. That could be the case. Let me see what settings do you have for other VMs that you are running? Are you not running any kind of NAT network here on your
Okay,
virtual
sir.
box?
Let me check.
Just close this one first. Yeah. What do you have for your Kali? Okay, still. Is this still from the installation process only, or did you start it again?
I've started again.
Started again. Okay.
No.
Pardon?
It's in Java.
It should look like this, something, but he's getting some that notepad kind of. I feel that is not installed properly.
Either that is the case, or it could be that when you're installing these things, it asks you to associate these files by default. So either that could be the case. What is the file size that you're getting, Gaurav?
It,
Yes.
See,
2.55 GB.
155 GB,
yeah,
right?
for me also
Gaurav, what are you
2.55.
getting?
2.55.
That should be the size. Even on my system, I have it as 2.55.
But it is showing one error away. So I'm changing
Share
it.
your screen.
Error. You
You
must
must
specify one.
specify a machine to start. Okay, close this. First, check your file size once. 2.55 GB size is okay. So go to VirtualBox. Why is it? It's stuck on starting VM, I think, right?
Yes.
So you have to like end task or something, end this process, because it's not going to start. Just try right clicking and closing the this virtual machines icon from the task tray itself. Okay, now go to VirtualBox.
Yes. Here there is a one message about it.
Aborted is okay. We'll go to the settings once. Close the extra windows. There's no point in that. Okay. Okay, not settings for the virtual machine. Go to the file and come to preferences, the first option. Go to network. Okay, create a new NAT network here. That icon on the right side. Okay, just click on OK here. That's it. Now you should be able to use the NAT network setting.
So the start on please start button.
No, don't start it. It's not going to start. Go to settings again for this VM. Yes, go to the settings for this VM. First, go to display and under graphics controller, change it to VM SVGA. Second option.
Okay.
Okay. Now go to USB. Disable the controller. Click on OK. Now is it go to settings once again. Okay, so invalid settings is not appearing anymore. Now try starting the machine. Oh, sorry. Change the adapter as well once. We forgot to change it back to NAT network.
Sir, even I have to change the display thing. For me also, it is not running.
Try changing that.
Yes,
Whenever you
but
open up the settings and it tells you that invalid settings are detected, you have to fix the issue, otherwise you'll not be able to run the VM.
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, from here, select NAT network.
VMS VGA, right?
Yeah. Okay, NAT network is already selected, Gaurav. So
Yes.
just click on OK. Now go to Kali once. And even here you need to set the first adapter to NAT network. Otherwise you won't be able to access your target machine here. There is an invalid setting here as well. More CPUs are assigned than the number of physical CPUs in the host system. Okay, change these settings in. Go to system, processor, and you assigned it 3 CPUs when you have only 2 available. Just reduce it to 1. 1, not 4. Okay, now should work. No errors. That network you already did that previously. Now try starting that VM.
So CSEC also we need to make a processor one.
Do I start?
Yeah, yeah, for most VMs, reduce the processors to just 1. For your attacking, at most give it 2. For your Kali or at Parrot, whatever attacking VM you are using. For any targets that you install, just limit it to 1 processor.
Do I start? Yes.
Because most of the work that you do will be on your attacking system. So if you assign it 2 cores, that is fine. But your targets are not really going to be, you know, working a lot. So you don't need to unnecessarily provide the processor cores to those VMs. Because if you overload the resources on your system, everything is going to work extremely slow. All your VMs, even your main OS is going to work extremely slow. So you have to take care of the amount of resources you are allocating. Okay, so I think it should work fine this time.
Password for this?
You don't need the password. That is as far as you are going to go in this machine. See, when you are targeting something, okay, when you are doing a CTF, you are working on it as if you are remotely accessing it. Now, in this case, you have physical access to your target since it is installed on your system as a virtual machine. You're not going to physically access the system and log into it directly. If you're getting the screen, that means you're ready to work VM now. And all the work will be done on your Kali. This just needs to be running.
Okay.
Okay. So, shall we move forward with the class then?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now, when you work on a machine, we have all our basic PT system set up. Now, what we need to do is start working on it. And in order to do that, what is the first step that we should take? The first step is I'll need to try and figure out the IP of my target before I try to do anything further. So I showed you that we can do that using Nmap easily. But there is another tool that I could have used here. and you can use this as well, called Net Discover. You must be root to run this, of course. You just sudo. Now I haven't specified this, so it will start running for all IPs, which I would not recommend. This can take time. What I need to do is first I need to figure out what interface I'm using. Okay, so just a quick IP address. Now this is my NAT network interface. Okay, so my target device is also a part of this network, and this interface is Ethernet 0, and this is the IP range which is being used. So with that in mind, I use sudo net discover, use the -i option to specify the interface, which is Ethernet 0, like we've just seen. And if I don't specify anything, it will just start searching in all private IP address ranges. But in order to not waste our own time, we should specify the range as well. 2.1 you can say, or 2.0 if you want. Now you can give it /24, but /24 gives an error in this thing. So this should be /16. Okay, yeah. I need to give it the -r flag to specify that I am telling it to use a range, a particular range. So now it's going to try and figure out all the IP addresses that are active in our given range.
Sir, if I do IP config, I'm getting only Ethernet 0, but other one I'm not. Others are I'm not getting. Only
That
my
is going to
current, like, yes.
that is going to depend on the number of interfaces you have, on the number of adapters you have on your system.
But if I make all as an NAT network, then I should discover, right? In the IP address? No.
Sorry, I'm not getting your question.
Because when in few days back we were trying, in the CH class, then we were trying some Ethernet 1, 2, and 3 and all we were finding. But now I'm not able to find that. So
How many network adapters have you configured on
only
your
one. Only
only
one.
one? So only one is going to be there.
Oh, okay.
See the
Max
number of,
4 we can
pardon?
max 4 we can configure, right? Whatever they
Yes,
have given
max
in that.
4 adapters you can add, but
Okay.
you don't really need four in this case. I mean, you just need one adapter. You can set it to NAT network. Also set the adapter in your Kali machine to NAT network, and make sure that the NAT network you are setting is the same for both, because you can have multiple NAT networks on one system. That's basically like creating multiple LANs within your VirtualBox. So
Okay.
we use NAT network just to make sure that I'm able to access my target from my attacking OS, or Parrot in this case. So I have for my Parrot system, I currently have two adapters configured. So that is why you are seeing multiple results. Okay, one is loopback. Loopback is going to be there always. One is Ethernet 0, one is Ethernet 1. This one is a host only adapter, and this is just a tunnel connection which is temporary. So I'm using a VPN to connect to a particular network, so that's temporary. As soon as I close that connection, this will go away. That's why you're seeing multiple results here. Otherwise, you'll just see as results according to how many adapters you have. So don't worry about this.
Okay.
Okay, so our net discover scan gave us four results: 10.0.2.1. Now this is the gateway IP, so this is not going to be our target. 10.0.2.2. Okay, we don't know what this is yet. But take a look at the next column, which tells you the MAC address as well. So this is the MAC address for the gateway, and the MAC address for the second IP, this is also the same. So it means that this is the same device. These are just two different interfaces on that device on the gateway. So we can remove this as potential targets. That leaves us with just two other IPs, 2.3 and 2.245. So again, I can do an Nmap scan,
Sir,
try and
sorry
figure
to
out.
interrupt you. That sudo net discover hyphen I, what you have mentioned?
Hyphen I, then I specified the interface name. So it was Ethernet 0 in my case,
Ethernet 0.
Ethernet 0.
Okay.
So that is what I specified.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an Nmap scan. Let's try operating system detection as well. And for both these IPs, 10.0.2.3 as well as for 2.2.245. So I can just separate them with a comma, and I'll need sudo for this. Okay, so out of these three devices that we have, sorry, out of these two devices that we have, for 10.0.2.3, it's saying us that all ports are filtered. Okay, too many fingerprints match this host to give specific OS details. So it's not even able to tell us what the operating system might be. And for the second one, we are getting a definite response, and we are also getting a few open ports here. Okay, let me just make one small change to how my system has been configured from the last time I solved this. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so now we have our results. So we can focus on just scanning one particular IP, which is the one for our IP, for our destination. Don't really need sudo with this, but no issues with it. Three open ports. Now I can try to be a little more thorough here. I can do scan for all ports, see what's open. Okay, just three ports. I can do even more thorough scans. I can run a script scan as well as a server detection scan, see if it gives me some more information. Okay, so since there are only three ports open, it's not really giving us a lot of stuff to work with, but whatever information it's able to find, that is present here. So HTTP, Apache HTTP server is running, SSH is open, FTP is present. Let me see if a vulnerability scan results something or gives us any result. I mean, vulnerability scan. Okay, A vulnerability scan can take a little bit of time.
Sir, that Discover is discovering 4 IPs and it is stopped. It is not coming to prompt. Does it take
Going
more
to,
time? It is not coming to prompt that
because it
terminal.
yeah, I understood. It tries to go through the entire range that you specify, so that takes a bit of time. So if you found the IPs which are a part of your network, of your current subnet, just stop it in between.
Yeah.
Okay, so just control C out of it. Okay, so until it does its vulnerability scanning, let's try out one small thing. Now, like you can see here, FTP is open. Let me try anonymous logging for its FTP. Let's see, might be available. 0.2.245. So we're able to connect to FTP, but whether anonymous login is applied or not. So it's saying anonymous login, okay, send your complete email address as your password. So this usually means anonymous logging is disabled, because this thing means that you are not going to be able to log in. Okay, so FTP, being the polite protocol it is, also wishes us goodbye as we leave. So directly accessing any files through FTP is out of the question now. Now we are left with two ports, SSH and HTTP. So since it's HTTP, I can try to access it and try to access the web server. Okay, so it says that this is the default web page for the server. The web server software is running, but no content has been added yet. So the web server is running, but the directory for any particular website is not known to us. So we don't know whether a website is running here or not. So we'll have to try and figure that out. Now there is a very handy tool for this that we have. There's actually a couple of tools. One is Dirb, DIRB. Another is Dirb Buster or Directory Buster, basically. So that's why they call it Dirb Buster or Dirb. And another one is Go Buster. So there are three different tools, and these tools are used for what is known as directory brute forcing for websites. Now, actually, the kind of attack they perform are not brute forcing; they are basically dictionary attacks. But the aim is to find out possible paths within a website. So for GoBuster, if I just press this, it's going to give me the usage. I say GoBuster dir because I want to use directory brute forcing mode. Then I specify the URL with -u, which is http followed by colon and two forward slashes and our target IP. And I also need to give it a word list. A lot of word lists that you could use, but a very good word list is present with the buster. So you go to user, share, the buster, word lists, and okay, it has these directory lists 2.3 small and medium. So both of them are quite good.
That means we are having already this word list in Kali, right?
Yeah, the buster has like it installs this word list with the tool installation itself. So we can use these directly. And in most CTFs, or even in a lot of cases, if you're actually trying to test on a real application, these word lists are very good. Okay, they're very extensive. So in the first few minutes, okay, it's already finished. Okay, so we have one result, which is this / secret. So this is a possible path on our website. So let's try it out.
Sir, paste that complete command in the chat. Sir.
Okay, this GoBuster one.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment.
How we are copying and pasting that, sir?
Copying with Control Shift C, and I have shared clipboard. I have that option enabled between my virtual machine and host
Oh,
OS.
okay.
So
I tried many times. It didn't allow me to paste outside. That. What is
mm,
that? Shade?
shared clipboard.
Shade. People.
I think you need to have VirtualBox extension pack installed. It's present if you go in the settings for the machine, and in the advanced section you can have the option of shared clipboard. If you keep it to bi-directional, that means you will be able to copy both ways, from your host to your guest as well as from your guest to your host. And for copying anything from the Linux command line, you can use Control Shift C. Control C, because to the command line, Control C represents that you want to stop a program. Okay, so this directory we have discovered / secret. Let's try accessing it, see what we get. So we are getting something, okay, because we can see the title appearing, my secret blog, just another WordPress site. So okay, we see something opening up on the screen, but it's not really. It doesn't really look like it's proper. It looks like there's something wrong with this page. Like it hasn't loaded properly. So even if I try to like reload or something, I'm going to get a similar result. Okay, so this looks like it's very badly formatted or something. It says content. Okay. Now this is not how a website should look. If I click on this, try to follow this link, it tells me that it's unavailable directly. Okay. Can anyone figure out the reason based on the error that is present on the screen currently?
The connection to the server is not there. Or
But
firewall is there.
no, there is. But if there were a firewall, we would not be able to access the port at all. Observe the screen. See if there is something that is different from what was appearing before. I'm just
Yes,
going
sir.
to go
That
over here.
VT sec, it
Yes,
was coming.
yes, good. So when I click on this, even in the bottom left corner of the screen, you see that it tries to connect to VTC sec. So it tries to connect to a host known as VTC sec. But our system doesn't know any host known as VTC sec. Okay, we just have the IP. So how can I fix this?
Again, we need to give IP, but same thing will come.
Pardon? By giving the IP. But
IP, then same thing will come.
if we give the IP, then we get something like this. And this is not
Yes.
really a proper website.
Mm.
Okay, now in all systems, in Windows, Linux, every kind of system, there is a file known as the hosts file. Basically, what that file is used for is we've studied DNS back in the very first chapter of our ethical hacking course. Now, when your browser wants to make a request to a website and it does not have the details, before sending a DNS request, it's going to check your local hosts file, not local host file, local hosts file. So the host file which is on your system is going to check that. If it finds an entry for that host, it's going to use that value. So sometimes people use this to, you know, block someone who's using the system from accessing a particular website. Let me show you what it looks like. So there is a file, hosts file. It is present on both Windows as well as Linux. For Linux, the file is present in etc hosts, so the directory where you have your password and shadow files. Now, what I want to do is I want to make an edit. So I'll use nano etc hosts. Now this is my host file. So you can see there are already a few entries in here, IP addresses and corresponding domain names. Now in our case, our system is trying to reach a domain called VTC sec, but it does not really know how to reach that. If it sends a DNS query for this, it's not going to get any results because no domain over the internet which is known as VTC sec. So in that case, we'll be totally so our system is totally confused as to how to reach that. But we can guide it. What I can do is I can include this value, the IP address. So I can 2.245, and I can connect it with the domain, sorry, with the host, which is VTC sec. So the next time my browser wants to make a request to the VTC sec, it's going to check this host file and it will find that there is an entry for VTC sec. And what is that entry? VTC sec is being mapped to this IP address. So it will correlate that and accordingly send the request. Right now, the request that is being sent to VTC sec, or the request that should be sent to VTC sec, is lost because we don't the browser doesn't know where to send it. So once I make this change, once I save it, now if I try accessing it, okay, I'll just reload the page. Now you'll see it works perfectly. We
Sir,
are
how does it make difference? Because when we tried with the 10 dot and then it is going to that that host, but still like it is the same address, right? How it is making difference by using IP and the domain?
because see what happens when you click a link. Now this link points towards this domain. Okay, look at the when I hover over this link, look at the bottom left corner of my browser. Okay, that link points to vtcsec/secret.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you're right that it's the same IP. We know that it's the same IP. You know that, I know that. But the browser doesn't know that it's the same IP. Now I've mentioned it in the hosts file so that it can relate. it can relate that that is the IP which is belonging to VTC sec. But otherwise, my browser doesn't know what is VTC sec. So if it is going to send a request to VTC sec, it should be aware of what is VTC sec. Where do I send that request?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So some things that might seem obvious to us are not so obvious to a system. That's why these little technical issues might arise. So now that we have mentioned this in the host file, see the request is still made to VTC sec. Okay, it's not making the request to the IP directly now. But now it knows that VTC sec, where it is located, it has the address. So it can properly send the request now. Another thing is when we previously used this, when we went to this, none of the images had appeared. Why? Because even for the images, now you know that images are hard coded in the HTML code. Those images are also being accessed from this VTC sec host. So once I've mentioned this in the host file, my system knows where to get those images from. Otherwise, no, what is VTC sec? Where do I get an image from? So that's why there's no proper formatting, there's no images opening up otherwise. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. So this is our website. Okay, not our website, actually our target website on our basic pen testing system. And there are multiple indications that this is a WordPress website. Okay, there's just one post. There's not really much to look at. I can try to look for the robots.txt file, which is a file which is present on every website. Okay, it's not present in this case, but in any actual website, you'll see there's a file called robots.txt, and it tells web crawlers what directories they are allowed to access and what directories they are not allowed to access. Because there might be you know, some web pages that you might want to keep away from appearing in Google searches or Yahoo searches or Bing searches, whatever you're using. So you need to tell those web crawlers or those automated bots which try to roam the which try to access every page on the internet. You need to tell them, okay, this is a page I want you to avoid, so don't go there. So all that you can write in the robots.txt file. Now when you're testing a website or you're pen testing a website, you can look for that file, and it might lead you to some sensitive data which might be present on the website. So that is always something you should check when you're working on attacking a website.
Sir,
Oh,
what
okay.
is this exactly WordPress? Actually, it came last time in CH class also. What is this exactly WordPress? Sir?
WordPress, you could say it's a CMS, it's a content management system. So it basically makes it easier for you to create a website, to create a simple website like a blog website, or you know, most simple websites can be created using WordPress. It's just like you have different frameworks. Okay, so you would say that WordPress is a framework that helps you build websites. It's like it provides you with a lot of templates.
Okay. During CH, we were learning some, I don't remember now, but
Scanner.
it was checking if there was a WordPress site, then only it was detecting,
Yes.
otherwise, it was not doing it.
Yes, that was WP Scan.
WP. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be using that as well.
Okay.
So for WordPress website, it works. And the thing is, since WordPress is free to use, therefore a lot of websites use it, and that's why there's a special tool dedicated only to scanning those kind of websites. So we'll go further with this in our next session. We'll continue working on this machine further. So if there's any